Your reference is carrying water and granola bars for the homeless people in Detroit that I run into. Well, it was like my first year in Detroit. And I remember it was at the intersection, like 8 Mile and the Lodge. There was a homeless guy standing off to the side. He did start doing one of those numbers, like you kind of like glance over, then look away. You don't want to make eye contact, but you want to make sure he's like still there. And then I just kind of like looked at him and like really saw the guy. And then the light changed and I just left. Jesus, I was there for this guy. You put me there for him and I just left him. I did nothing.
Welcome to Open Seat, the podcast where we create a space for authentic conversations about faith, unfiltered and unapologetic. Here, we believe that every story matters. Whether you're questioning, seeking, or steadfast in your beliefs, you'll find something relatable in these heartfelt discussions. So grab your seat, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's story here at Open Seat. Today in the Open Seat, we have Deacon Randy Koenigsknecht.
That'll work.
Oh man, I'm getting better.
You got much better than this last summer, yep.
Well, you'd think I've been practicing, but I really haven't. So it's so nice to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back here. I mean, it seems like a short time. It's been about a year and a little bit.
So what have you been doing in that year and a little bit?
Well, mainly getting ordained. That was kind of the big one a few months back in May. And then been at a parish out in Pinckney, St. Mary's in Pinckney. So shout out to the rival St. Mary's maybe.
Well, we're a Holy Family. So
you're a Holy Family,
it's
St.
okay.
Mary's campus.
Thank you for correcting that.
Yes.
So tell us about ordination. Do you feel any different? I mean, the day of, after all, I mean, it's an hour, 15-minute ceremony?
Yeah, more like hour and a half, I think.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Yes. Well, first off, it flies by way faster when you're the one getting ordained.
Oh.
Surprise. But because I've always been like, okay, they move pretty quick. But then when you're there, it's like, oh crap, I've got lines, I've got to stand up, I've got to do things. So beforehand, it was really cool just being able to like pray and be like, okay, Lord, here we go. And all the priests are like filing in downstairs where you're waiting and getting prepped and stuff. And just a lot of encouragement, a lot of kind of that brotherhood that you're about to enter into is really cool. But then as far as the actual Mass itself went, it was really when during the ordination rite, so there's kind of like a couple of pinnacle moments. So one is just before you're actually ordained. You lay down on the floor, and then they chant the litany of the saints, asking them to intercede for you as you're about to prepare to give your life away to the Lord and ask for His grace and His strength as you do that. And so that's a really powerful moment just in general, I think probably for everybody. But then for me, it was when the bishop actually laid his hands on my head. So we do that, we get up, and we go up and we kneel down in front of him, takes his hands, puts them on top of your head, and I don't know if it's just a Boyer thing or not, but he presses down like, you know something's happening here. There's kind of a real weight to it, like a very powerful moment. And you're waiting there for a few seconds, then you get up, you move back, and he goes on down the line, then he prays a prayer, the prayer of ordination. And just when he was praying that prayer, like, I don't know what he was saying, like, I read the prayer beforehand, so I knew that part, but like, I was zoned out in that moment of just like, right, this just happened. Like,
yeah,
no going back.
No going back, buddy.
And it was a really beautiful moment. It's just like, okay, Lord, we're in this together now. We're committed.
So tell us the secret. Did you cry?
I cried a little bit after I was ordained. When he was praying that prayer, I cried. I don't know if I cried when I was being vested. I can tell you this already. When I'm ordained a priest, I will be crying, sobbing as I am being vested, almost certainly.
This is probably not the place to tell you this, but it breaks my heart because I cannot come to your ordination.
Yes, so Father Mike already broke this to me.
Yeah.
I was kind of really struck by the audacity of like, I have to be on this, I'm coming on your podcast for you guys, And
well, you didn't ask me to be a godparent for your ordination, but I was asked to be a godparent for that quinceañera.
I mean, I was thinking about having you vest me, Katie.
I checked, women cannot vest. I checked.
Well, I did not check, so that was a good step ahead there. I mean, no offense, I might not have actually asked you, but...
Yeah, that's crazy. So, Randy, after you were ordained, I hate to tell you, but you can't go back anyway because your parents spent a lot of money on a photographer.
Kevin?
I don't know his name, but you had a personal photographer trailing you.
Well,
it was like paparazzi.
So, fun fact, that was one of my classmates from seminary. So we were together for 4 years. He's from the neighboring town, so we knew each other very well, and we do a lot of stuff together. And then he discerned out in his 4th year, and when I went on, then he got married, he's got a kid, and so he lives in the area and does photography.
Nice.
So he was very excited at the opportunity to be able to to do this.
That's great. It was really kind of interesting to just be there and see the family dynamics. I mean, Agnes is one of my favorite people. So to see her just running the show.
Oh, yes.
Mother knows best on that one, buddy.
Yes. She's got her plan down. She knows what everyone needs to be doing. She's not deviating.
No. The twins were just kind of like, oh, yeah, we had to do this before. So
Yeah, I think at this point, everyone just kind of knows. We just do what she tells us. Like, it'll be over sooner and it'll look good. So let's just get in line and follow it up.
After you got ordained, then you drove back to your home parish in Fowlerville.
Katie.
Oh,
Katie.
I'm so sorry. I said the wrong thing.
Fowler. Thank you.
Oh, Fowler.
No
not
Ville and
Fowlerville.
Fowler.
There's no Ville, and he is not Randall. He's Randy.
That's right. I'm not no fakes here.
Oh, okay.
No fake Randys.
All right. So he drove to Fowler.
Yep.
Okay. And you said Mass.
I preached at Mass.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, you preached. You
Yep.
did the homily. Here's my question. There's another young man who got ordained the same day as a deacon from your parish.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys draw straws as to who got to do which masses, or how was that chosen?
Yeah, no, so we talked about this beforehand, kind of planned things out together because we're from the same parish. We knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took the 4:30 on that Saturday. And then for priesthood, he's taking the 4:30. We're swapping roles.
Oh, so you get an easier weekend.
Yeah, so I'll take the Sunday morning instead.
And then we went to your party after your mass. But by the way, your homily was great. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
I've heard you preach before, so I was ready for it. But so afterwards, your family had a party, or the
reception.
parish?
Yeah, the parish.
Did the parish have
It was
the
the parish reception.
Which was so nice. That was really kind of them. Although it was not a Holy Family party.
It was no, a little calmer, less dancing,
Yeah.
less excitement.
Yeah, I think we should talk to Father John about how to throw a party.
I think you'll be more surprised with the priesthood one. Maybe I think it'll be a little nicer, a little more.
Well, we
up
already
class.
talked about this. I can't go.
Well, okay, all right. So the representative from the parish who ends up going, whoever that is,
I don't know who that's going to be if Father Mike and I are talking about.
probably maybe Jody.
Maybe Jody.
Beth would probably go.
Oh, Beth. Yeah, Beth would go
Yeah.
too. You're right. Yeah.
No, I can think of a few people who definitely go.
All right. If it makes sure you'll feel better, then you can think of your list. But
I mean, all I'll be able to think about is how you and Father Mike aren't there. It's really going to tear me up inside the whole time.
well, rest assured of my prayers.
Thank you.
And I can watch it online, as anybody can,
Yes.
on the diocesan YouTube channel, which is very exciting that we can rewatch all of that. In fact, when I'm bored, sometimes I rewatch your ordination for your diaconate. And now I'm going to watch it and see if I can see where you cry, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know if I was showing it too much or not, but I was definitely feeling it. Now, you say you pray for me. I'd also recommend praying for one of my nephews, because when I got back from the ordination and I was back at the house in between before the Mass, before the Mass uptown, and my sister told me that when they're in the car and they told him that he had to go to another Mass that day, he said, wait, so I just did an hour and a half here. I've got to do another hour. I've got to do almost 3 hours of church just for Randy. It made me feel really loved.
Yeah, I think I had those same thoughts. But I found out we get to eat in between, so I was okay. I hope that poor child got to eat in between too.
Oh, he definitely did.
Okay, good. Because, I mean, then I thought, oh, I can do this because I got to go to eat, so it's good. So I thought you were going to tell me that one of your nephews has a vocation. Because you got a priest factory going through that family.
A little bit.
Well, I have not been out to your house, but do your parents have some kind of factory set up out there where they're just popping priests?
I mean, not a priest one. It's more of the milking cows kind of setup is that. So I don't know if those are really correlated, but probably not. Well, actually, there's a lot of dairy farms in Fowler, and they get a lot of priests. So
maybe.
Who knows?
Something's in the milk. But you're not the only dairy farm, so it's just in the whole Fowler area.
Yeah.
Okay. How many priests have come from Fowler? Do you know?
Oh, that I don't know. I know it's a shocking amount for the number of people who live there.
All right. So now we got to talk about the really important question. What are the differences between St. Mary Pinckney and, I'm not going to say your favorite assignment, but probably top 5, Holy Family?
Well, I mean, to start off, St. Mary's, one church, Holy Family, 2 locations.
Yeah, so you can go hide.
So I can go hide. Yeah, just go over to the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought the event was at St. Joseph, not St. Mary campus.
Yeah.
My bad, darn it. How could I miss this? There's a pretty big difference just in where the parishes are at, in the sense of just like the people, like what the kind of the goal that we can move in. My read of like Holy Families, there's a lot of foundation building up the faith in people, getting people to the point where they can go out and like make disciples. When I look at St. Mary's in Pinckney, I see a lot of people who are already at the stage of let's go make disciples and pushing people into that mode. And so there's a lot more of kind of like an outward focus. And so it's just different steps along the preparation period of a parish, different movements that take place there. But that's probably the biggest one. It's got that kind of different, a lot of catechesis is already done, and we can focus on, let's get you guys prepped and trained to go out and have a very focused, intense focus on going out and doing that.
So what kind of work have you been doing at St. Mary in Pinckney?
So pretty big variety, really. So I was there during the summer as a deacon. And so, of course, I'm preaching, doing baptisms, all those kinds of things I can do now liturgically. And then also within the parish is taking on greater leadership and various activities. So like I ran the parish rummage sale.
Well,
get this. I think we made close to $5,000 off this rummage sale.
All right. So what do they have in their rummage sale?
Just tons of people bring tons of stuff. So we have a gym, and we essentially just filled the gym with things. And it's the kind of like sale where you actually get the people who are like, I don't know, professional rummage sailors. Like they're coming through and they're looking at very specific toys. They're looking at very specific jewelry. They have all these items that they know they can resell again online. So that kind of group comes through. So you make a lot of money off of them.
Wow. Do they sell furniture?
Nope. So our rule was nothing that one person can't carry, because there's a group, the Purple Heart Foundation. I found them, and they were willing to take whatever we had left over, provided that one person could carry it. And it wasn't like books.
Oh.
Yep.
So is that one person like you, or?
If you can't carry it into the gym, it can't go in the gym.
Wow.
Yep. And so that worked out really well. They came and they took all our leftovers. We sold an amazing amount of stuff.
Yeah, you would. $5,000 worth.
Yep. So, I mean, especially because the system we were using was just like $5 a bag. And so we had like big grocery bags, like the paper ones. Just like whatever you can fit in the bag, as long as it's not individually priced, $5.
Well, did you find any treasures like you did around here?
Yes, I did. The main one I found was this lovely, how to describe it, golf lamp. So imagine a golf bag that had a lamp on top of it. So the lamp base has got zippers on it. It's got pockets you can do all kinds of stuff with. Super goofy, super ugly. It was wonderful.
Super goofy, super ugly.
Yep.
Great description. So who's going to benefit from that token?
Oh, that already got regifted.
Oh,
yes, to one of my classmates who he was assigned at St. Mary's before I was, and he liked having lamp light in his office, which I got. The office is kind of clinical, with the lighting, very important.
All right.
And so he had all these lamps that he got from Goodwill for really cheap and just scattered around the place. And then he left the lamps. When he got to the new place, like, hey, can I have the lamps back? And I let him have the lamps, but then I snuck that lamp into his new office.
Did he appreciate it as much as you did?
I think it lasted 10 minutes in there before it might have hit a dumpster. So, in a sense, yep.
10 minutes is a long time.
The office staff, their faces were pretty good, though, when I was bringing that thing in. There's no sneaking this big lamp in, so they were overjoyed to see it.
All right, so you ran the rummage sale, and for all the Women's Guild people who are listening, Randy's available to run the rummage sale here, too. And you heard him. He made $5,000, so maybe he could come back and get that kind of money for Holy Family. I don't know what they made last year, but I don't think it was $5,000. So we might have to call on you to.
Well, really, it's the woman at the parish who set it up the year before when they really started making the money. And then I just followed her model and talked to her about what do I need to do to make this work.
So you're a cheater.
I am a cheater, 100%.
All right, so you ran the rummage sale. What else did you do at St. Mary in Pinckney?
So did a bit of teaching thing. So I ran a Bible study there.
Oh, barbecue, beers, and Bible, or what was that?
Oh, yes, with the bakers.
Yes,
that's
did
what
you
I
do
ran
that
here.
there?
Nope. So I ran one on Romans, and then just more of a just small group discussion style. So we had just each week. So it was like a 7-8 week series. Just in between masses, we have about like an hour 15 roughly that you can do stuff like that in. So we just started working through it.
And so you did that. Anything else?
One of the big things was, so the pastor is a big evangelization guy. So like he'll go out for fun to like do street preaching and talk to people about Jesus and the gospel and stuff.
Okay.
It's his big passion. So Hell, Michigan is right next door. It's 5 minutes from the parish.
Oh.
Yes. So we would get our clerics, get a couple other guys from the parish, and go over to the Hell Saloon.
So there's a couple of priests sitting in hell.
Mm-hmm.
How many photos were taken?
Not as many as you might think.
Oh.
But still a good number.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I don't know, maybe it's not surprising the amount of people who come up and say something along the lines of, "Are you allowed to be here? I never thought I'd see a priest in hell."
Yeah.
Generally then followed up by some question about faith or Jesus, some variety. Or you can just use as your intro to dig into stuff, because if you're wearing a collar, it's not weird to talk about Jesus. You get a lot more leeway in that sense.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think there's a parishioner around here who has a t-shirt that says, "I'd rather drink a beer in hell than water in Flint."
Yes.
Did you want to borrow that shirt next time you go?
That would be tempting. I was actually thinking about that this week. I was like, I wonder if he's going to be wearing that shirt, because I see him wear it at Mass.
Yeah, I know. I love it when he does. He has a collection of shirts that are just epic. So what did the Hell Saloon produce?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got one guy in his family. He's been coming to church regularly now. So it's a very cool story for him. Like, he was his sister had been telling him, like, hey, you need to, like, get back into faith and find something and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so he's at the Hell Saloon, and he said, I'm thinking about these things, and a priest sits down next to me. And so Father started talking to him, and he's just like, I'm going to your church. I'll be there on Sunday. And he's coming. He's been coming since.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Pretty regularly.
What? And he's bringing his family.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So things like that. A number of good conversations just with random people who would never step foot in a church. Maybe not even for a funeral or a wedding sometimes.
Okay.
So it's really reaching out to people who never really hear the gospel before other times.
That's fascinating. I never would have thought the Hell Saloon would have produced.
I would never have thought of that either.
Produced harvest, but
Yep. And it's also good because we always bring a couple other guys with us and to kind of like train them, get them used to the sense of like, what does it look like to talk to someone about the faith, to talk to someone about Jesus? How do you do that naturally? What kind of things do you need to do? What kind of questions might you ask or probe or things like that? So like almost a little training course for them.
Do you ever bring women with you?
Oh, we haven't got that far yet. So when we just started, so we have a men's group at the parish that the father's like very involved in, what both of us were. And so just an easy pitch to them, like, come on down on like a Friday night.
You didn't want to pitch that to the rummage sale gang?
I think it's a little different direction that they're going in.
You're probably right on that one, but I would have loved to have been there to see that invitation go down. Like, I made you $5,000. You want to join me in the Hell
Saloon? Yeah.
All right. So what are you doing now with your life?
So now it's a combination of school, so finishing up my last year of seminary. So taking classes still. So during the week, I'm in Detroit at Sacred Heart.
Okay.
And then Saturday and Sunday, I'm at St. Mary's in Pinckney for the weekend masses. So I'm still preaching, and I teach a couple OCIA classes during each semester and things like that.
Did your priest know that you were doing this podcast, or are we going to have to hide it?
No one knows. I haven't told anyone that this is happening.
Randy, they're all going to know.
This is going to be big.
We're hoping to gain more listeners now that St. Mary's Pinckney will be tagged in this.
Right. Well, and of course I'm on it. I was the famous DSA face the last year.
Oh yes. Amazingly, the diocese never picked you up.
Who could have guessed? I could have never seen that coming.
I don't know what they're missing.
I think I know. After being a seminary for a while, every time there's like some publication of some variety that they need a face for, there's like a select handful of guys who get picked for it,
That's hurtful and unnecessary.
I mean, it kind of is.
So, did you send a letter to the bishop that says that was hurtful and unnecessary, Bishop? Because that's what you kept telling me.
Well, no, so I'm normally just happy to be left out of things. So I thought it was hurtful and unnecessary that I had to do something,
Yes, that DSA money at work.
DSA funds at work.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, then it turned into I had to make a video for you guys for the DSA.
Yes. I think your check's in the mail for that one, too.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Hope it doesn't get lost.
That would be a shame. Yeah.
Well, the burning question really, in my mind, and I'm sure many people, is, Randy, does St. Mary's Pinckney have a softball team?
They don't have a softball team. It's one of the major flaws, especially when I heard about the Adrian church here going into some
Yes.
playoffs.
Yes. Fourth place, Randy. Let me remind you. Fourth place.
Out of?
Oh, I think there was like 16 teams in that league.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we actually did really well. I don't know what happened because you kept telling me you were our all-star and you weren't there this year, but we still succeeded.
Well, it's really amazing how the best players can really leave a legacy of winning and kind of building up that culture. Like you look at the Lions, like it's a winning culture that they've established. So really, when you have an all-star like myself on the team that one year, really raising the general level of play, raising everything up, getting the team used to we're going to win every game we play, we're going to win it all. It really carries over. It's amazing how the lasting legacy of all-star players.
Yes. While you were speaking, I was just thinking how much you're like Aiden Hutchinson.
It's a common comparison. I get that all the time.
Well, you do have a comparison, Randy. Remember when
I sacked the third baseman?
Well, let's clarify. She was a girl. And you hit her with the ball first when you hit the ball.
Yeah, a solid line drive single that should have been past her, but she had to get in the way.
Yeah, so she got smoked with the ball once.
Yep.
And then I say trucked, but for people who don't know what that means, you ran her over.
Well, yeah, there may have been this is my baseline, my base path, and there's more strategic ways to tag a rather large individual who's not capable of making swift turns to dodge such things. I mean, really, I think I should be cleared of all guilt in this incident.
Well, if you went to confession, that's between you and the priest and God, so that's handled, I hope. But what I'm getting at is actually you and Hutchinson do have something in common in the fact that after you ran her over, she stayed in the game and you came out.
Oh, yes.
And you were on pretty much the IR for a while.
Oh, yeah, for the rest of that game, which was almost over.
And I think then after that, it was like something about, oh, I can't come. I got stuff going on or something. I don't know. It just seems to me that you milked that injury a little bit. I'm not saying Hutchinson milks an injury, please. That was bad. But you're both sitting on the IR as all-stars.
I mean, scraped knees are dangerous too, Katie. Like, you can't mess with these things. You got to think about the future. There's other softball teams out there who are going to need me.
Well, not only that, but we need those knees to genuflect for sure.
That's true. Yes.
I mean, you probably should have been a little more careful. I would hate for the consecration to happen and you not genuflect. Like, I don't know how you'd explain that to the bishop, honestly.
Really should be a workplace injury at that point with how much we're required to genuflect. Like, I think knees are they're destined to go out at some point for priests.
Yeah.
No way around it.
Yeah, you should check into that and make sure that there really is some kind of program to help with that, Start a nonprofit for priest knees. I could see that happening. All right, so what classes are you taking in the seminary? Anything fun?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably my favorite one this semester so far is nature and practice of spiritual direction. And so spiritual direction, kind of a big thing that priests do, and kind of easy to screw up at times, and that's not good when you screw that up. So it really covers like some like basics of like, okay, what should you be doing? What can it look like? While also covering the kind of some history of spirituality and combining some of that stuff. So when people come to you, you know how to relate to them, to what they're going through and how that relates and how best to lead them through things. So we've had a variety of stuff happen for that class. We had like an addiction counselor came in and talked about that because that's stuff people are going to talk about. And
that's true.
Basically, what can you do? Where do you turn them? What's going on? And so some of those kinds of things has been really helpful having that. I have a U.S. church history class, which I would never thought would be one of my favored classes, but I really enjoy it. Maybe it's just as I'm getting older, 26 is pretty old.
Oh boy.
Starting to get into history with my midlife crisis, so it just kind of fits,
I think so. It sounded much like it. All right, and you were here visiting this weekend. Well, I should say October 20th, October 19th and 20th. You came to visit. How was it?
Oh, it was great to be back.
Yeah?
Also a little sad because I realized just how quickly you forget people's names when you have to learn a whole new parish's worth of names.
Yeah.
And then you come back and it's like, hey, you... I knew your name 6 months ago. Not anymore. Sorry.
Well, I did notice you came on Taco Sunday, Randy.
Well, that was entirely accidental. A very blessed accident. Maybe even divinely ordained. Who knows?
I think the Guadalupe Society appreciates divinely ordained taco Sundays. Yeah. Yeah. So how were the tacos?
Oh, the tacos were great. Had a nice salsa on top with like the cilantro and the onion, kind of blending it all together.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Well, after this, maybe we can record a commercial for Taco Sunday with you because you're such a big fan of them. And they are great. But we could get your voice a little bit.
As long as I get some royalties off it, I can be convinced.
Yeah, nickel is fine. And you did a couple baptisms, right?
I did not do the baptism. That was all Father.
Oh.
So I stood by and watched as Father did the baptisms.
Wait a minute. But can't you do baptisms?
I can. I've done 4.
And he didn't even let you do them.
He didn't let me do them. Well, if they're in Mass, like that's the priest territory. He's already doing the stuff, so he gets to do the baptisms.
Oh, I expected. I haven't seen the video, but I expected you to just shove him out of the way and be like, this is my moment.
Well, yeah, then I'll take the kid, and kind of start doing the dunks,
Yeah.
Who needs a shell to do that?
That's true. And working with that family, I'm not sure they'd appreciated the dunks, but I would have liked to seen it.
Well, I know the kids wouldn't have, and also, they're pretty big. That would have been maybe a little bit more of a struggle to do that well.
That would be your arm workout for the day.
It would be, yeah. Lifting a 5-year-old to give him the dunk.
So when you were here, Randy, one of the things I most respected about you was the fact that you would carry water and granola bars in your car. Are you still doing that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I even added to it.
Oh.
So so your reference is carrying water and granola bars for the homeless people in Detroit that I run into.
Oh, I thought you were eating it.
I was not eating it.
I'm
Sorry,
just kidding.
Katie.
I know. It was for the homeless people, which is really incredible.
So I preached on that a couple weeks, maybe a month back in Pinckney, and just preached about care for the homeless, care for the poor, and those kinds of things. And one of the old ladies came up at Mass because I shared like kind of a conversion moment, like when I started doing that, why I started doing that. And she's like, I've been knitting hats for homeless people and donate them every so often to whatever place. And would you like a couple to keep in your car? It's like, that would be awesome. So I now have water, granola bars, and hats.
Wow. You're getting close to a regular market.
Yeah, I'll soon have to start expanding my center console.
Oh, it's all in your center console?
It's all in the center console, so it's easy to reach.
Wow. That's a lot in that center console. So why did you start doing it? I don't even know. I just respected the fact that you did it.
Yeah. Well, so it started because, it was like my first year in Detroit, so like 5th year of seminary, whatever, 3 years back. And so I had a meeting off-site. I was at another church, so I was driving back. And I remember it was at the intersection, like 8 Mile and the Lodge. So just before I was about to get on this little lodge, I had to get back to the seminary. There was a homeless guy standing off to the side. And I noticed him, and like I didn't have anything. I was like, what do I do? And like you do start doing one of those numbers, like you kind of like glance over, then look away. Like you don't want to make eye contact, but you want to make sure he's like still there and like okay or whatever, like nothing seriously going wrong. And so I was like doing that, and then I just kind of like looked at him and like really saw the guy. And just like everything, like I need to give him something. I should do something for him. And then the light changed, and there were people around me, and I just left. And then I got back to seminary, and I went to class later that day. And it was one of the scripture classes, and they were talking about the Gospels. And Jesus in the Gospel is talking about sins of omission, the sins we commit when we fail to do something we're supposed to do. And the whole time the professor's talking about this, in my head, I'm just seeing this guy because his face is just great. Like I can still like see him, visualize him very clearly, what he looked like, and just oh crap, Jesus, I was there for this guy. You put me there for him, and I just left him. I did nothing, and it was a rather painful day, kind of like realizing that, and just like I'm really sorry.
And now you carry granola bars.
And now I carry things
hats.
for him. Yep. Not a ton, so a little less than I used to, but still, they're always around, but it's a matter of, can you actually get to them? But fairly often, once or twice a month, probably.
Well, Randy, anything else you want to leave the Holy Family audience with? Oh, man. You've dropped a lot of wisdom today.
Is that what we're calling it, wisdom?
I don't think we have a title yet. I don't know if wisdom will be it, but any other pieces of advice you want to give us? We haven't seen you for like a year. We haven't gotten any good Randy information.
No good Randy information. Insights I've gained in the last year. Sometimes you just got to send it. Just do it. Like, sometimes you have a sense of like the Lord wants me to do this thing, and you start getting caught up in the details. Sometimes it's best just to go and ask forgiveness later.
Oh, Funny, I get myself in trouble when I do that.
Oh, I know. That's why you got to be careful with it. You can't live by that.
Well, I was on my office board, I have different quotes from people. So I'm just going to put, sometimes you just got to send it, Deacon Randy Koenigsknecht.
Oh, yeah.
Soon to be Father Randy Koenigsknecht. And then when I get in trouble, then I can just be like, well, the priest said so.
I mean, people use that excuse all the time, and I'm sure it works great. He said it was okay.
I feel like you're trying to invite souls into confession. Is there like a drought
Oh, hey,
or
no,
something?
whoa. I always love inviting souls into confession. Go to confession. That's my message. Do that more often. You'll be better for it, and everyone will like you more probably because you'll be holier.
Okay, all right. Anything else for us? I mean, those are two major nuggets. I don't know if we could do any more.
Yeah, I don't know if you could fit both of those in even into the same podcast. Might need a whole separate one to unpack it.
I don't think so, but that was a good thought. Randy, what could we pray for you as you head into your ordination?
I would say whenever you pray for a priest, always pray for a couple things. First is perseverance. Perseverance is what the Lord has called us to do, that we would continue to carry that out faithfully, to not get weary, to stay close to Him. And I think for me, that'd probably be the main one, just that sense of perseverance as I'm drawing close to the priesthood, to not let doubts sink in a little bit. And a lot of that kind of take away by ordination, in the sense of before the church.
Well, when the bishop puts his hands on your head, he might move them down to your neck and then just choke a little out of you.
So I would pray just pray for grace of perseverance, and to just stay close to the Lord, and to really just draw close to Him and really live in that relationship that's going to sustain priesthood, because it's only that.
You're not even going to give us the standard line of pray for vocations?
Okay, yeah, pray for vocations. I want to retire one day. I can hardly... So as you're a seminarian, every time you go to Mass, especially an older priest or even young priest, the cheesy line always gets used, that's my retirement plan one day, so pray for him that he goes through.
Oh, boy.
So I'm debating, first Mass I'm ordained, the other seminarians there being and pray for these guys that they go through so I can retire one day, retire finally one day.
Well, you're hitting that midlife crisis at 26, so
That's
I think you're close. Maybe about 50 years and you'll hit that, but it's close.
Oh, 45. I think 45. I think 70s are...
I think you're being generous.
Retirement age.
Well, I think bishops can retire at 75, right?
They can't. Well, that's a whole nother story, Katie. It is kind of weird thinking about my class at seminary. How many of these guys are going to be bishops one day? Because at least one or two of them probably is going to, get the call.
I always thought you'd be pope. I mean, for sure, a cardinal.
Well, I've had some thoughts about being pope myself, Katie, now that you mention it. I've already kind of come up with a name. I think I'm going to keep Randy, but you got to make it fancy so people will respect you. So I think Randus Magnus would be, Randy the Great, or Big Randy. It might also be translated. Would be a great title for pope.
I'm just envisioning your holy card with Big Randy on it.
Yes. And then get maybe some mottos like in mis manos or todos mios, totally mine, in my hands, all the power. So these are the things that I want to put out there so I don't get called. There's a fine line you want to walk,
Well, the way I see it is they keep talking about vocation so that there might be a few of you left, so somebody got to be pope. Are you going to draw straws?
That does happen sometimes. Now that you mention, I do have an official title. I am the Archdeacon of Lansing.
The Archdeacon.
Archdeacon, yes.
What is that title?
Well, so what that means is instead of them, people communicating with all of us at once, they email me, and then I tell everyone else about it, and then email them back the response.
That sounds like a terrible game of telephone.
That would be correct. Or if we're going on retreats or something as a diocese and we need to make sure all the seminarians are there, I'm responsible for counting them once they're on the bus to make sure they're all there.
So does everyone get a job and you got the short straw?
Well, so it kind of happened that we're on a retreat and the bishop asked us, so who is the archdeacon, who's in charge, so they can count the seminarians, make sure they're all there.
How many are there?
What is it, 28? I think there's 28
you
of
just
us total.
go down the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to 28.
Yeah.
And you should just have to wear shirts that have your number on.
Just have our number on. That would make my life easier. So we're all on this bus, and he's asking this question, and all of my classmates, there's 7 of us, we start looking at each other who's going to do it, and no one's saying anything. The bishop's okay, it's Randy. And thus I became the archdeacon.
I feel like seminary is a lot like high school. We have different levels. So the seniors have to count and make sure all the freshmen are present. Is this kind of what it is?
I can see somewhat of a similar comparison. The freshmen are always terrified of the seniors because they seem like they're so tall and they have it all together. Same thing happens when you enter seminary. You look at the guys 4 years up or whatever above you, and they just seem like all put together. And then next thing you know, you're one of those guys, and you realize you've like nothing together. And
Yeah, I was just going to say, have those younger guys call me.
Yeah, you'll give them the inside information.
I got them. I got the 411 for them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is fascinating. So we will pray for perseverance for you and, of course, vocations. Well, nonetheless, Randy, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to be back at Holy Family.
You know, I really enjoyed working with you that summer. I mean,
it was a good time, yes.
We had some pretty interesting moments, but
I don't think anyone ever seen that dynamic duo coming.
I don't think I didn't.
I mean, I didn't know anything about this place before I showed up, so.
Well, I would actually like to thank you for leaving Holy Family, because not only since you left have the Tigers done better, but, you know, the Lions too, and the Holy Family softball team. So I'm not saying it's a coincidence, because there aren't any with God, but Randy, St. Mary Pinckney needs you back. Once again, we thank you for joining us today. We hope that wherever you find an open seat in your life, you will invite someone to join you.